Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another Optc video, and in today's video, we're taking Sanji Pudding into some of the harder content in the entire game, and today we are taking on the Hawkins Forest. So, in today's video, this is the team here that you see on the screen there. If you need to go back, pause it, have a look at the supports, because some of the supports are pretty required, mainly, notably, Conus. Conus is very, very required on our Sanji and Pudding. And without Conus, this team does not function the way it does. You can get away with not using Markino, and you can get away with not using Akainu, but you do need that one turn of defense up removal that Conus can provide. Now, if you guys don't have Markino, I would highly recommend using something like the Zunisha ship, and then maybe replacing Snake Man with something else. Or even utilizing someone like Rare Recruit Kobe. That's another really good option to replace with Robin for nullify damage, which is really, really strong, mainly for the page 1 stage, but also for the Rogue stage. But Robin on this particular team is our attack booster, so that is something to note as well. On stage 12, this is where the forest starts to get a little bit tricky. We are going to use one of our Sanji Pudding specials here. That's going to remove all the damage reduction, all the threshold. And just with the color affinity from Shanks and our high attack from the rest of our units, we can take out the rest of this stage. On the next stage, we come up against Rogue, and Rogue actually has 5 turns of defense up. So this is where utilizing Conus for the first time is essential, as we can actually start withering down the defense up just by hitting perfects with our Sanji Pudding unit. Now, unfortunately for us, Rogue is going to start doing a lot of damage. So on turn 2, I would highly recommend using the Robin special. Robin's going to give us nullified damage, as well as give us an attack boost to our cerebral units. So that way we just don't have to take this extra shot from Rogue. We get a couple of meat orbs as well. And that way we can get our HP back. Now, if you want to as well, you can switch with Sanji and Pudding. And that way you can get the 25% heal, depending on how much damage your Rogue does to you. But as you can see, just with the meat orbs that Robin provides, you can get a lot of healing. Especially if you have Pudding as your captain. I think each meat orb is worth around 11k healing, which is absolutely absurd. Once we get down to the 1 turn of defense up, we are going to pop our Snake Man special. We can switch with our Shanks crew to give ourselves an attack boost, a full border orbs, and a 2.5 times orb boost. Then we can break the final defense up with our Sanji Pudding, and then let our red units just absolutely decimate our boy Rogue. Ideally, with this particular setup too, you do want Snake Man and Sengoku to be underneath Shanks and next to Shanks crew. That way you can actually guarantee yourself 2 strength orbs on this particular stage. Another way of actually doing it too is you can actually make sure that you are Pudding coming into this stage, and that way you can actually guarantee yourselves 2 strength orbs as well. And then you can put Robin in the middle slot to get more recovery orbs, but either way tends to do the trick. On this particular stage, we come up against the Fire Breather guy and the Bug Looking guy. Both of them are from Kids Pirates, I'm pretty sure. We want to basically kill the red guy. That's the big thing that we want to do here. We just want to take him out easy peasy, and then we're actually going to stall on this Bug Looking guy. Ideally, you just want to stall until you can get your Sanji Pudding special back. And what I would highly recommend doing is actually staying as Sanji, so that way you get the damage reduction, and then stockpiling meat orbs, so when you switch into Pudding, you can take advantage of that 1.5 times recovery, which is actually ridiculously high. 11,000 per meat orb is absolutely absurd. Make sure that you are switching, or you have switched with your Sanji Pudding at least once before you start taking damage. That way you can start clocking up that 25% healing before we move into the next stage against Killer. So on this particular stage, we do get special reverse and special bind, but what we're actually going to do on this particular stage against the Bug Looking guy, we're just going to basically stall until we get all of our specials back. Ideally, like I said, you just want to make sure you've got one of your Sanji Pudding specials back, as we are going to need it on the very next turn. I actually got very, very lucky here and just had enough cooldowns for the amount of damage that I'd actually output. Once we move on to the next stage now, we come up against Killer. Killer puts up a 5 turns of damage reduction, and he has a counter mechanic, which is actually pretty detrimental. He only lets you choose 1 special as well, so this is where switchability is coming to play. We want to use the special of Sanji Pudding to remove the damage reduction. They're also going to give us a 2.25 times color affinity boost to our cerebral units, and then we can switch into our Shanks crew. Very important that we switch into Shanks crew. That way we get an attack boost, and we have a color variation with color affinity to actually take out Killer. And as you guys will see here, Shanks crew actually hits ridiculously hard. It hits for something like 5 mil, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 5.6 mil. Absolutely absurd. On to the next stage now, we come up against Big Mom. Now, this is where RNG comes into play a little bit, because you don't want your Sengoku to actually get binded. And if he does, just close the app and reopen it before the bind sets in. That way you can use his special to not only remove the bind, but also give yourselves a full board of orbs through block orbs. And with the support of Akainu, the limited rare recruit, because, Akainu, you can actually get a 2.75 times chain lock. Now, that chain lock is not essential at all, provided you have max limit broken all your units, because Shanks will just do enough damage to take out Big Mom on that particular stage. But I would highly recommend utilizing some sort of support on Sengoku to maximize your damage on that particular stage. On to the next stage. This is where things normally get a little bit tricky. We come up against Hawkins, X-Drake, and Page 1. They have one turn of defense up, and they remove special effects. So this is where having the support of Markano is amazing. But, as I mentioned, you could use something like the Zunisha to make perfects easier to hit, or you could use rare recruit Kobe instead of Robin to get yourself another strength unit, as well as removing that through his amazing Sailor ability. On this particular stage, we are going to use our Sanji Pudding special for a 2.25 times color affinity, as well as the Snake Man special to give ourselves a full board of orbs and a 2.5 times orb boost. With the switchability of Shanks' crew giving us a 1.5 times attack, we can absolutely decimate both Hawkins and Page 1. On this particular team, we actually are going to keep X-Drake alive, and on the third turn, he's actually going to do a big death hit. So before we hit the third turn, we are going to use our Robin special. Robin's going to guarantee us some meat orbs as well as nullify damage. So all the damage that X-Drake would do to us is just absolutely negated. And then we can just take our time on this particular stage, stall on X-Drake as long as we need to get all of our specials back. Once he does his big Allosaurus blast, whatever he does, he puts up auto heal for 15 turns. So you basically just need to stall that out anyway. But with the guaranteed meat orbs that we can get from Robin, hanging on to those, as well as utilizing the switchability of Sanji Pudding, moving into the next stage, we are going to have a nice chunky piece of HP to heal back with us. Make sure that you are double pudding when you are eating those meat orbs though, because utilizing double pudding gives you more recovery. When you're not eating the meat orbs, again, I would recommend being Sanji. That way you can just you can get more damage reduction that way. Once the auto heal goes away, you can start doing some damage to X-Drake, take him out, and move on to the next stage against King. Now against King, this is where, honestly, things are normally a little bit tricky for this particular stage, but for Sanji Pudding, it is just dumb easy. He gives us 6 turns of Gloom, he has 3 turns of Threshold, and 3 turns of damage reduction. With the switch abilities of Sanji Pudding, we can remove the Despair, and then with one of our Sanji Pudding specials, we can remove the Threshold and the damage reduction, which is insanely good. We also get Color Affinity for our fighters and our cerebral units, and then with the switchability of Shanks' crew, we can get an attack buff, as well as giving ourselves matching orbs to our strength units. Very important. Now, on this particular turn, we are going to absolutely decimate King. We do want to try and hang around on this particular stage, though, as we do actually want our ship back. Another thing King does is he actually gives us 4 turns of ship bind, which is a little bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world, as we have a lot of ways to get a lot of matching orbs. So when he puts up his orb barrier on the next turn, we can actually abuse our switch abilities and actually give ourselves a lot of very good orbs. So on the first turn, we're just going to absolutely pile on the damage to our boy King. And as you can see, we can do around 2/3 of his HP pool, which is very, very nice. After we do that, he starts putting up his orb barriers. And it normally goes quick, and then it goes Dex, Int, Strength, Psi. So ideally, with our switch abilities, we can actually give ourselves matching orbs here. So on this first turn, when it's quick, we can switch into Sanji. That's going to give us a matching, or give us a guaranteed quick orb. And then on the next turn, we can easily switch into Pudding and give ourselves a guaranteed, it goes Int, then Dex. If you miss the Int orb, don't stress, because you can switch into Pudding on the next turn and give yourself a guaranteed quick orb, and that way you can easily take out King. Once the ship bind goes down to 2 turns, you actually can move on. I should have moved on this particular stage, but normally you have to get lucky with that Int orb, where you can guarantee yourself a Dex orb on this particular turn against King, and this is ideally where you actually want to move on. With the switch abilities of Shanks' crew giving ourselves guaranteed strength orbs as well, if you really, really need to, you can actually just hang around on this particular stage until the strength orb barrier comes up, provided you have enough healing to tank the damage from King. I think he does around 10k every single turn, so I think you can tank one more shot there and then get the guaranteed strength orbs on that particular stage as well. On to the next stage, we come up against the big dog Kaido. Now, Kaido on the first turn does nullify damage to our Psi unit, so ideally, you want to switch in to crew with your Shanks crew unit, That way you can give yourself a 1.5 times attack boost. You can switch with your Sanji pudding units to guarantee yourself some matching orbs. And then we're actually going to use the Shanks crew and the Sengoku special. That's going to give us a 1.5 times attack, a 3.5 times chain lock, and a 2 times orb boost to our units. Or maybe, might be 2.25. I can't really remember with Sengoku. But as you can see, even without color affinity, we can actually take out Kaido in one turn, which is just absolutely nuts. If you don't, he gives you burn, which is just very, very annoying to get around. On the final turn against Kid, we're actually going to take 2 turns here. Kid gives us only 2 specials. He gives us a full board of block orbs. And that's about it. So what we're going to do on the first turn here is we are going to use our Sanji Pudding special. That's going to give us a 2.25 times color affinity for 2 turns. We can use our Robin special, who's going to give us a 2 times attack to our cerebral units for 2 turns. And will give us nullify damage. We're just basically going to do our normal taps. You can do a bit of damage here if you really want to, but try and keep Kid above 50% HP. Ideally, on this particular turn, we just want to just get rid of those block orbs. And then on the second turn, we're going to use our Snake Man special to give us a 2.5 times orb boost, as well as remove all the bomb orbs that Kid gives us, give ourselves a full board of orbs, and then absolutely decimate Uatis Captain Kid. So there you guys go. That was my Sanji Pudding run for the Kid Forest. Honestly, did a lot of work. I was very, very impressed with this team. Managed to do it quite simply and quite easily. We were on stream doing this as well, and it just worked really, really well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt that like button. And if you are new to my channel, hit the big red subscribe button too. We do upload OPTC videos every single day. But guys, most importantly, wherever you are in this beautiful world, make sure to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, guys, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Lights!